Under fire today over its reforms to Canada's employment insurance program. There's lots of questions about the crackdown on EI claimants who they face surprise home visits from federal workers to verify their claims. Well, today, more questions about whether the provinces will be forced to shoulder extra costs related to the federal EI reforms. Will provinces have to pick up the cost for seasonal workers who are denied employment insurance and collect welfare instead? Is there really rampant abuse in the EI system that warrants the kind of home visits and the focus on fraud? Let's find out now. Joining me in the foyer of the House of Commons is Kelly Leitch. She's the Parliamentary Secretary to the Human Resources Minister. So is Malcolm Allen is here, the NDP's agriculture critic, and Roger Cuzner, the Liberal Human Resources critic. Good to have all three of you at the top of our program. Kelly Leitch, I was on a briefing call with the ministry today trying to get at this whole notion of EI fraud. And can you tell us exactly how many cases of EI fraud have actually been found and prosecuted by Human Resources?
Well, what I can tell you, Evan, is that we know that Service Canada has made sure that up to about $500 million worth of ineligible payments or fraud were stopped by Service Canada last year, and that there are concerns of there being several $1 million more. And what we're doing is focusing on making sure, doing that audit function that you see so often in small businesses or in not-for-profit organizations, that the funds that are going out are going to the people that need it and deserve it. And so in this case, when individuals require and need EI because they're temporarily unemployed through no fault of their own, that's available to them. We want to make sure that the people that are playing by the rules, the people that are following the rules of employment insurance, have employment insurance available to them.
At this briefing, I mean, we're trying to get to the bottom of this thing. And human resource officials said today, this is not new. They've always done checks. They've always knocked on doors. That's not new. They've always made sure that the integrity of the system was in check. Nothing here they claim is new, though, to be fair, they could not tell us the number of fraud cases. They said they don't even track that data. What do you make of this?
Well, it's very troubling when neither the minister nor parliamentary secretary can tell you what the data is. So, I mean, clearly it's about chasing smoke and mirrors. The system has always had an inspection process in it. In fact, Evan, at one point in time, what you used to get in the mail was a job search form. You filled it out and said, where had you been looking for work? One of the requirements if you're on unemployment is being available and looking for work. That's one of the questions that are asked, that if you say yes to, so that you can collect your unemployment insurance, then you actually have to be doing that. And at one time, when they actually provided a real service, they would invite you to come down to Service Canada offices. But of course, since this government's closed them across the country, it's harder to do that, where they would literally help you do job searches. They would give you some information about how to write a resume or do other sorts of things. And at that point, you would actually report in. So this sense of there's more fraud in the system now. You know, if you look at the statistics, when we have less people eligible to claim unemployment insurance, to assume that there's more fraud in the system now than there was 5 years ago is preposterous.
Okay, but let me just get one thing, and then I'll go to Roger Cuzner. Your leader, Tom Mulcair, accused the government of breaking the law for sending EI integrity officers to claimants' homes. Again, speaking to the department today, they said that's normal. They're not breaking the law. So let me ask you straight up, is it breaking the law? The department says it's normal, they're doing their job. What's your take on that?
Well, I know their history has always been that they didn't actually go and conduct an interview in your home, and they certainly didn't come unannounced. I mean, this idea that you come unannounced.
They say they've done it before.
Well, I'm not there to challenge them. I didn't know who they are, but I can tell you, I spent 20 years of a previous career representing workers in EI claims, and I have never heard, ever, in the Niagara Peninsula, and I represented thousands of workers who had thousands of claims. If you can imagine the GM chain that went from 10,000 to 1,500 workers, how many claims that was over a 15-year period. There were tens of thousands of claims, and I never heard once of anyone ever knocking on anyone's door to do this.
All right, right.
There's no question that a great many business owners are finding it extremely troubling. I can tell you, Evan, I spoke to the Horticultural Council, which represents horticulture right across this entire country, and they will tell you that they have seasonal workers according to the definition. They work 10 months a year, but inside that 10 months, they work in excess of 2,000 hours, which would be seen as a full-time job if it was an hours-based piece. And so what they're saying is this is extremely troubling for them. They're not sure exactly what this impact is going to be for them, but they're very wary of it, very afraid of it. And so this government hasn't talked to business owners across this country to have seasonal employees. And so both sides of this equation, the employers and the employees, are finding themselves in this vice that's been created by this government's ideology about, cutting unemployment benefits to seasonal workers across the country.
All right, I know Roger